Hello there, it's the 3rd of August 2023 and my bike tour around Iceland continues. I'm currently in the Westfjords of Iceland and today I'm going to be starting from Sudavik in a campground. I'm going to be following this road in and out of the fjords and going to a place called Heydalur, which is a farmstead campsite type place. It's a long day, about 114 kilometers. So there's lots of video from this one. It's one of the longest videos in the series. I hope you enjoy it. So let's get on with it. Speak in a bit. Cheers. Good morning, Thursday the 3rd of August and I am leaving the town of Sudavik, left at about 10 o'clock, and I passed a petrol station which according to Google Maps didn't have a store, and it did have a store. So in the last video I was looking for one, but just cycled a little bit further up the road when I found it. Not that I desperately needed it. But anyway, I bought a Twix and a Powerade. Overpriced, but sometimes you've got to get your calories where you can. The intention today is 114 kilometers, and if Komoot is to be believed, about 1,000 meters of ascent. I'm hoping it's got 250 of those wrong, in a similar way that it had a couple of days ago, where there's now a new road instead of a pass, but we will see. There's a cafe at about 50 kilometers, halfway. I would say that this is 90 to 95% of my capability to do 114 kilometers in these conditions with all the stuff I've got on the bike. If I don't feel like going all the way, then maybe I'll wild camp. So hopefully I'll be there by kind of 5, and if it gets to 5 and I'm kind of nowhere near there, then I'll make the decision to call it a day and carry on the following day, have a shorter one and still stay at that place. It's a basic campsite, but there is a restaurant there, which I guess by that point I'd have deserved a meal, right? So here we go, there's some clips in the road. There's a bit of snow in these mountains in front of us, but I'm going to be going to the left again, where the fords go in and out. I think I'm going through 3 fjords today. I'm sure they've all got names, I have no idea what they are. And here we go. Down to the end of the first fjord, and now I've got to go back up the other side, so probably in about 20 minutes I'll be opposite where I started by about 100 meters, separated by the fjord, of course, the water. Down the bottom here looks quite green. Must be a nice spot to grow something, although I'm not too sure what you grow in Iceland. Looks just like grass mainly. Everywhere I've been, people are cutting grass to feed, I guess, sheep over the winter. I'm not sure what they grow in the way of vegetables here. I don't think the season's long enough for it to grow anything. Maybe in only some specific areas, probably. What do I know? Am I a farmer? No. But do I like eating food? Yes. So I didn't feel any wind as a tailwind or a headwind. So if I can get to the other side of this fjord without headwind, that'll be a bit of a bonus. Making pretty good time. Of course, I'm only about 45 minutes into the trip, so that doesn't really mean anything yet.
Is turned off.
So a bit of
look at the map.
a bit of luck.
70 meters behind you.
A bit of luck. It looks like Komoot wanted to send me to the right and over the hills, but instead there's some flat roads to go on. So it's definitely knocked off some of the ascent, and probably 2 kilometers. Still over 100 to go, but yeah, that's pretty good. Don't know if you can see just opposite, there's that settlement. That's where I started this morning, that's Sudavik. And it's taken me about an hour to go around the fjord to get to somewhere that's about, what, 200 meters opposite it? Sweet. So I completed the first fjord, which is over to my left, and let's have a look at the stats. 21 kilometers travelled in 1 hour 13, which is pretty good going for a touring bike. Slightly depressingly, 94 kilometers to go, but I should soon eat that up, as I believe this was the hardest part of the thing. Sometimes you can see whales in these fjords, apparently. Bit still at the minute. Coming around to the bottom of another fjord. I think I see somewhere to pull over and stop, I think, which I'm going to do. No I don't. Oh well, that's a shame. But I am going to pull over and stop for a quick snack. According to some photos, there was once an old fishing plant here, but that is no longer here. It was a wooden building. Little one-way bridge. The other side of the fjord. So, pulled over for a quick wee break, as you do. What have we done? 38.6 kilometers travelled, and that's taken 2 hours and 2 minutes, not bad. And 76.9 kilometers remaining, so if the terrain stays the same, I'm making pretty good time. There should be a stop for a coffee in about 12 kilometers time, so I'll take an hour out of my day there, probably just having a cake and a coffee. So cycling up this part of the fjord, just the slightest of headwinds, which is kind of a bit energy sapping. And while I will head back down in the opposite direction soon, I've got a long stretch in this direction a little bit later on, so we'll see how that goes. Might just add like an hour or two onto the day, I guess. So I've been cycling for 2 hours 48 and covered 51 kilometers with 64 left to go. And I'm hoping that there is a cafe or even 2 cafes within the next kilometre. And as the time's now 1:46, I'm going to stop and have some coffee and a cake, if it's there.
Í þeirri stærð sem hún á að vera. Og svo þurfa að hafa hæðina á gatinu líka.
So just leaving the little cafe now, and a quick thought about prices. I guess you know you've been in Iceland too long when 1,500 for apple pie and a thermos of coffee, you think it's a bargain at 1,500, which is about 12 euros. Actually, to be fair, it was kind of a bargain because there was about a litre of coffee, which I had. So I should be now fired up to get going. But yeah, I think if you're going to plan a bike trip to Iceland, you just need to, you know, you just need to accept the fact everything's expensive. Allow enough money for the trip and then just get over yourself. How much money? I don't know. I think you can 50 euros a day while you're actually in the country. Just translate that into whatever, 50 pounds or whatever, $60, whatever. And then, I mean, if you don't spend that much, then you'll take it home again, won't you? So, but you should probably allow that much. Just reached the bottom of, what is it, fjord number 3? Lost count now. And I'll be turning around to go back up the other side again in about 5 minutes.
Follow this way for 14 kilometers.
As Kamut says. Hope that there's not a headwind going the other way, because that would be a bit devastating. This is now going to be a long stretch of cycle. And if anyone in Iceland is watching this, this would be a great place to put a campsite for tents. So, I don't know if you can see that there's a little bridge. Going to be going over that and then heading back up the other side in the opposite direction again. Yeah, it's a little farm ahead of me. Whoever owns this should definitely just open a campsite just for cyclists. And they should have like an unlimited buffet breakfast as well. Should be awesome. Short steep section just when I didn't need it. Probably at the start of the day I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but I am thinking about it now. Whew. Three hours 45 cycling and 70 kilometers done. That still gives me 48 kilometers to go. And I'm only likely to get slower from here as the pace takes its toll a little bit. Time's 3:18, so outside chance I can finish this by 6 maybe, which coincidentally is when the restaurant opens at the place I'm heading for. According to the GPS, 27 kilometers to go, which I'm sure it said about half an hour ago. So hopefully I'll be finished in about an hour and a half, which I think will bring me to about, I don't know, like 6:30. Yeah, probably 6:30 finish. approaching a bridge over the fjord now, and I've got two options. There's one campsite to my right and one campsite to my left. They're both the same distance. One gets very, very mixed reviews, bordering on bad, and the other one gets good reviews. So I'm going to the one with the good reviews, of course. But it does make you wonder how reviews kind of affect your judgment, and if they have any value or it means anything. But in this case I can't really risk it because I'm quite on the limit of what I can cycle, and I have to go to one of them, so I'm going to go to the one with the good reviews, of course. Well, let's hope it's good anyway. Be a bit of a bastard if it's full when I get there. And this is where I turn right to Heydalur.
Now turn right onto Imjokeravegen, 600.
12 kilometers to go. On, well, sealed so far, but probably going to be a dirt road at some point. And then the following morning, thank you, Camus. And then the following morning, I probably have to go slightly higher as I cut across inland to Holmavik. If push comes to shove, there are places I've seen around this area where I could wild camp, but it doesn't look like it's going to come to that. That place was pretty well signposted with a lot of options, so I think I'm going to be sorted. And it's not the weekend yet, it's Thursday, I think. So should be less busy than it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This kind of semi-washboard road is not really what I need right now. You see the dust cloud ahead. One car went in the direction I'm going, and there is another one coming towards me, I think. Yeah, the washboard road is not good. I think it's going to cost me a half hour because I'm going a lot slower trying to cover this. And if I had got plans to go through the centre of Iceland on the F26, to be honest, if the road's like this, there's no joy in spending 5 days cycling at 9 kilometers an hour, bumping up and down. Of course, I'm saying that at the end of a long day, but if I'm going to cycle that road for 5 days, there's going to be loads of long days. Anyway, that's way in the future yet, probably like 2 weeks until I need to think about that. So different bikes cope with the terrain differently, but I think the bike I've got is a very good, hard, general purpose touring bike. You can go on road, off road, but obviously if you wanted to stick to dirt roads all the time, this wouldn't be the bike to do that, not in its current setup. Likewise, if you wanted to, you know, do a cycle trip around the world for 12 months or whatever, you wouldn't really go with a bike packing setup with suspension, because, well, if you're thinking of doing that, you'll find out why you shouldn't do it eventually, because you'll just end up accumulating more and more stuff, and eventually you're not bike packing anymore. It's a bit of a pain. I've got to put the brakes on going downhill, really. Loose gravel as well, because it's at the end of a long day. Don't really want to slide off the bike. Don't really want to slide off the bike at the beginning of the day either. I'm not sure if this is it in front of me or it's around the corner slightly. What I'm seeing doesn't really seem to be big enough for what I have in mind, or open enough, so maybe it's around the corner. It's difficult to tell following the map at the same time. I'm sure it'll all become apparent soon. The time's now 6:14, and I'd re-guesstimated I'd be there for 6:30, so done pretty well really. I mean, tomorrow I'm probably going to feel it. Well, there ain't no probably about it, I am going to feel it. And I've got another long day as well, which I need to think about what I'm doing. But I'm hoping that this place does a meal, and that then a Nurofen and a good night's sleep will sort me out for the following day. Yeah, it wasn't that place. A couple of caravans have gone past me.
Follow this way for 3.9 kilometers.
Oh, there we go. It's about 4 kilometers away. Almost there. It's a more sizable place up ahead. Can see some caravans. 6:28. Didn't quite make it for 6:30 by the looks of it, but it was close.
Now turn right onto Heydalur.
That wasn't it either.
6,336.
But I am almost there. Gotta be.